Hello guys, let's continue where we left off. In the previous lesson we built the sign-in component of our app. Now the users can sign into our application. That's great, but we still need them to have a way of registering themselves in our app. Let's see how can we do that now. Back into Auth service, just scroll down and create a new function in here. This will be very similar to this email sign-in. Sign up. You also take an email and a password. And now we create user with email and password. Let's just copy this part over here. We're gonna do the same. Just change this message. Your account has been created. Now it looks very similar with the difference of the method that we pull in from Firebase. But we're also gonna change another thing over here. You're gonna take the user that was returned by the create user with email and password method, and we're gonna use that data to update our Firestore database. The user data, this we still have to create. And you're gonna pass the user. So let's just go down here and create a method. Let's make it private because we're using within our auth service. The user data. You can call it anything you like. It just makes sense to use a very verbose name for your functions so we know what it does. Now we're gonna create a reference to a Firebase document and we're gonna pass the user ID. Remember, when Firebase creates a user, it will automatically add a user UID. That's a unique key that Firebase creates for each user. Let's make a user reference, and that will be an Angular Firestore document. With the user data. This Angular Firestore document, it comes from here. We imported with the Angular Firestore, Angular Fire 2. And the user we're passing is from the interface. Let's continue. Now we're gonna reference the doc and give it a path. Again, we're using the string interpolation. So we're creating a reference, and that is an Angular Firestore document of a user, and we are passing the location. Now we're going to create a data variable to store the user that was returned in here. That is a user. And let's build it now, UID. The user UID. Here, let's add a null just in case, because if you're going to use the Twitter provider, Twitter doesn't give the email address, so we need to add this null in here just in case you're going to use that. If you know that we're not using the Twitter provider, you can leave it out. Photo URL. And then we're gonna return the user reference dot set. This is a method from Angular Firestore document, which is gonna take the data and save it to the database. But the set, you need to be careful that this set is destructive. So if you have a name over there and then you add a photo URL, your name is going to disappear. So you need to pass merge true. And this is from the Firebase SDK. So let's recap. We are signing up a user with the email and password and passing it to the Firebase SDK with the create user with email and password. Then if it's successful, we're gonna receive the user back with the data from Firebase. Firebase will create a user object that contains this and some other stuff like verified email and some more metadata. We're gonna take the user that came back from Firebase. We're gonna pass through our update user data. Here we are referencing a Firestore document and giving it a path where to store it. Here we're taking the user UID and adding it to the address. So we're gonna have a users collection and then a user UID, and this user data is gonna be stored under it. Here is just so we can pass the data. So you're creating a data object, adding the user details and saving it in here. And you are adding the merge through to avoid the destruction of our data. Now, what is left for us to do is to create the component. It will be very similar to our sign-in component. You could, if you prefer, to make it a form, a separate form, and reuse it. I won't be doing this in here. So let's just paste in here the same. And now we need to change it for sign up form in here. Let's do find and replace. Most code editors should have one of these. 1 of 5. It will be replaced. Now let's go back to our sign-in and copy the imports. The same ones. Let's change the name of the function in here, sign up. And let's also copy the front page. Do the same as the before. Find and replace. And here will be a sign up. Let's just change the what we are saying over there. And everything else is the same. Let's do something different this time. Instead of using the sign up component and duplicating this data, let's create a root CSS file in here. The style guides recommend that you always, when you give a name, you specify what it is going to be like. The one is, we have a nav module, we have a nav service, let's add a style. So we, just by looking, we know what is it about, what is the content of the file. Now let's just close this once, and in here on the component, if you go up, there is an style URLs. Here is an array, so you can pass another file, styles.css. But we need to go up one because we are inside the sign up form. One up, and then it's done. Now let's have a look in the browser. The ngserve /open command. We have an error in there. Alf.style. It's just a typo. Sorry about that. Let's go to our sign up. There we have it. Our app looks the same. Let's do the same for the sign-in. I'll just copy it in here. Paste over there, and let's delete the CSS from here. And now if you go to the sign-in, it is the same. Okay, now let's test our sign up. Create a password. Okay, there is no user records. We have the error because we're still calling the email sign in here. We need to call the email sign up. And now when you refresh, you can create a new user. Welcome, your account has been created. Let's check it in the Firebase console. You go to authentication, there it is. And here we have the user collection, that user UID, and the user data. Photo is new and display name is new. If you're getting a permission issue when you create a user, you just go to the rules here and add a true, allow true in here. Later on, we're gonna deal with these permissions and the database rules to secure our data. But for now, let's leave it true so we can create our users and test. So now we've created. Let's fix this photo new in here. We're gonna use gravatars.com to create our photo URL for us. So to do that, we're going back to the auth service, and in here we are passing the user photo URL, but there is nothing there. So let's give it an option, and you're gonna use the Gravatar service to create an identicon for us. So let's add it now, HTTP. We need to pass a hash. So we're gonna use something called MD5. Although I wouldn't recommend this for if you have sensitive data. In our use case in here, it's fine. We are learning. So let's add this module MD5. It's a TypeScript MD5 module. Okay, successfully installed. Let's import it. And now we can use it. MD5.hash string. And we're gonna use the user UID. You can use the email or something, but I will use the user UID. Oops, this is capital in here. Let me show you something in the Gravatar website, how to use it in here. Gravatar image request, and down here you can see we're going to use this one, which is the identical. It's a geometric pattern based in email hash, although we're not using email hash. But you can also use any of these ones, blank, a robot, retro, and it will create a random avatar image for your user. Now let's go back and try it out. Our server is still running. Now let's go back to our sign up. We are currently logged in. So if you go to the application here, local storage, you can see here the data from our user. So let's clear it, and now we can create a new user. Okay, it was created. Now let's go back and check in the Firebase console database. Now I have two users, and here it is. The identicon was created. See? Let's see how it looks like. There we have it. In this lesson, we learned how to register a user, save the data in the database, and give them a unique identicon avatar. And we also learned how to use a shared style sheet in the module. Next, let's do a reset password and email verification. I'll see you in the next lesson.